Hello, everybody. I'm back again. This screen, I think I'm sinking down in the yeah. Hope you're all well, everybody. We're back live again. Let's have a look and see who we've got online. We've got quite a few already. Oh, Jez is on. Hello, Jez. Let's have a look and see if we can do this sort of hello. Yeah, there we go. Nice and nice and in the middle across my face. Oh dear, this doesn't get any better, does it? There we go. Craig's on. Hello, Craig. Sarah's on as well. Hello, Sarah. Luca's on. How we doing? All right, Luca. Nice to see all your comments already sailing through. This is a bit of a weird one because I've not done this sort of thing before. Again, I'm trying out all these live streams for you. This one is like a pre-record, so I've been down to Mobile Centre in Evesham, and I did a bit of a sort of interview stroke, talked about fuses and what have you. So before we go in, anyone else want to say hello? Oh, we've got Billy. Billy's on as well. Hi, Billy. Yep. So without further ado, I'll just do my sharing thing as well. Please make sure. Hi, Ant. Ant's on as well. Thanks, Ant. Well done. Hope you're well. Danny's on as well. Daniel's on. Hello, Daniel. Hope you're well. With all of your installer mates, or even all of your other, friends linked to vehicle installations. Oh, we got them all on now tonight. So we've got Sean on as well. Hello, Sean. Nice to see you. We've got Alex on LinkedIn. Hello, Alex. Hope you're well. Who else have we got on? Anyone else? Good. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the interview. Any questions that you've got at the end, we'll have a chat about it and bring them up on the screen, and let's see how we get on. Okay, so we'll press this button and let's see if this works, shall we? Well, that's gone well. Perhaps it's this button then. We'll try this one. Hi everyone, I'm here with Tim Consolante. We're here doing our interview at Mobile Centre near Evesham. Tim, how are you today?
Well, I'm here. What more can I say?
Great. We're here to talk about fuses anyway. Tim's put a lot of effort into sort of our other live streams previously. So I wanted to bring him or get him in on a live stream so he could give his inner thoughts and stuff about. He seems to be the guy that has all the answers when it comes to fuses anyway. So questions first of all. We'll go through these. So when was the blade fuse invented first of all? Comments, leave them on the comments. It'd be great to have them on. The more comments we get, the better it is. Let's get some comments on this. What does S stand for on this 40 amp fuse? So this is from a Skoda. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. See your comments. And the final question for tonight is, where should you fuse a device? So we'll go straight into our live stream and we'll look at this history, the types of fuses that are out there. And these are all automotive fuses, by the way. This is not any types of, this is all automotive. The things to consider when using fuses, and then some question and answers. So the first blade fuse that we had out there was ATO, and Tim found all this information out. It was invented in 1976. Tell us all about ATO. What does ATO mean then, Tim?
Well, Little Fuse, the company that invented it, they went obviously to patent the design. They wanted to call it an auto fuse because obviously it's been used in a vehicle or in a car. And the patent office basically said, no, your term auto is too generic. So they decided to drop a letter out and it became the ATO fuse. And that's what we know it as today, or we tend to call it the standard blade fuse here in the UK.
And of course, Little Fuse also invented all these other fuses we can see on the screen here, the Maxi, the Mini Fuse, the low profile fuse. You've also got the micro fuse as well. When was the micro fuse brought out? It's not it wasn't too long ago, was it really? Or
No, I mean the micro, well, we've got the low profile mini, which was 94. I think the micro 2 was 2010, and then we've had some later ones. The M case, which was I think predominantly they developed it for Ford. That was 2010, and then another version, the M case Plus, 2014. So little fuse, pretty much, the majority of the fuses we see today in automotive, they invented them. The names we refer to them, such as Mega, etc., are their trademark names.
Right, cool. Because you did mention on micro there, because I didn't realise it was actually that early on, 2010, because we've only actually just started seeing the micro fuse actually being used predominantly in vehicles.
The Mini was 1989, and I can't believe it was that long ago. To me, it seems maybe 10 years ago, not 1989, that the Mini fuse came out.
Yeah. So we'll look at why have they gone so small? Well, I think you can see there is, the reason they've gone so small. It's all about real estate. I think you mentioned before, and looking at that, you can see that in the 70s. I mean, what you said that there were 5 fuses. What vehicle was that then?
Yeah, I had a Mark II Escort, and I'm sure there was 5 or 6 fuses in there. And I remember somebody else had a Range Rover Classic, and I think they only had 3 fuses for the whole vehicle. That was it.
Yeah, and so now, as we can see today, 70 fuses. I mean, I think mine's probably got about 100 fuses. I think my vehicle's got about 100, but 70s typically. So it's a larger fuse box, so that's why they've actually gone down to these smaller fuses now.
Yeah, compressed in size, different height or less height, less width, just to cram more into the same space.
So let's have a look at those fuses that we talked about. We've got the blade fuses, we've got cartridge fuses, bolt down fuses, and we talked about the classic vehicle ones like your glasses, ceramic torpedo stop fuses. So we'll have a look at those as well. I'll open up the down camera so we can see. The first ones we're going to look at is the blade fuses, and we can talk about them now then, Tim. Let me just press my little button here, and I'll go onto them now. So we're talking about blade fuses. That's the ones. So these are all the blade fuses. Such a huge variety. I mean, these are all 30 amp fuses. Oh, we won't bring that one up. We'll look at that one afterwards. But there they all are. There's your maxi fuse. Was that maxi fuse?
That's maxi, yeah.
Yeah, so there's your maxi fuse. You've got your standard ATO fuse. You've got the micro fuse there, and you've got the mini fuse, and then you've got the low profiles. The ones I looked at in particular, Tim, is looking at the low profile ones. It doesn't seem to be that many adopters of the low profile. Do you know which manufacturers now adopt it? Or
I think some of the fuses we've looked at and talked about, Ford appears to be the manufacturer that Little Fuse has developed them for, so it may well be predominantly you're finding them in later model Fords, so we're not seeing them so much in obviously other manufacturers yet, or they're coming through.
So that's the micro fuse. That's the one that we're seeing. I think I've started to see the Volvos have started using them now, haven't they? Leave some comments. Everyone, by the way, if you've seen these micro fuses being used in other vehicles, please let us know. The low profile one, we've seen them before. They're normally used in the Japanese sector. The Japanese seem to like those. And then the Mini and ATO seem to see those in like sort of a lot of the European vehicles and stuff. Typically, the maxi fuse, where do you normally see them, Tim?
It's for larger current applications, quite often on electric fans, cooling fans, air conditioning, or you'd have it on a main circuit, so that then could be feeding some branch circuits, which then have smaller fuses running off a larger maxi fuse.
Great, lovely. Thanks for that, Tim. Right, we'll move on to, from blade fuses, we'll now move on to cartridge fuses. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't seen very many of these at all. Looking at them previously, I've not seen. So let's have a little bit of an explanation and we'll look at them. So we've got the J case, we've got the low profile, we've got the PAL, we've got an M case and an M case plus. So we'll just go back to the cameras again, and I'll press that button there. There we go. So these are all the J case. These are all the cartridge ones, Tim. Is that it? Yeah. So I'll just bring these onto my hand.
Ones, yeah.
So we started with the one first of all. What was the first one that we talked that was on that list?
So we've got the J case, and we've got the sort of the PAL fuses there. They're like a most of them are a plug-in cartridge fuse. You can see one of them there's got some legs on it, where it's still a cartridge fuse, but potentially we could also call that a bolt-down fuse because it's got some holes in it.
Yeah,
The shape of it is a cartridge, so I think that's what we'll go with. And then you've got those two really small ones, which are the M case and the M case Plus.
Right, so tell us all about these M case, because I have never seen one of these.
So again, we talked about Ford earlier. The M case, the one without the slots in it, the one without little grooves in the body, that came out in 2011. And then I think Ford wanted a higher current carrying capability. So Littelfuse redeveloped that in 2014. Hence, you got the grooves to give them, again, more surface area. And again, that's a Ford, predominantly Ford-only fuse. I mean, Littelfuse manufacture around about 90% of the fuses for all vehicle manufacturers worldwide. So, I'm no doubt it will come to other vehicles.
So what's this one, Tim?
I don't know.
Don't know that one.
That looks that's either a PAL. I would say that's out of a Japanese car. Very rarely do we see those, to be honest.
Okay.
Any of those PAL or J case ones.
Yeah, and that's
which are those? Yeah, that PAL or J case.
That's
variation.
a PAL or J case one as well. Right, so there's all the different types of cartridge fuses we've seen out there. So we then move on to our one here for bolt down fuses. So there's such an array of bolt down fuses. I was looking at all these and I was thinking, wow, there is a massive amount of these bolt downs. So we've got this one. So there's your first one. What's that one? That's an A&L.
It's an A&L fuse. I mean, that's designed, you've got those two grooves, so you'll find a lot of materials handling forklift trucks. You can actually undo the cables without taking them off, and you can slide the fuse out and replace the fuse without actually removing any of the cables, just by loosening the bolts.
So that's your A&L. You've got a cube fuse. That's an interesting one. I've not seen one like that before.
So they're mounted directly to the battery. So again, it's that space saving. You're just bolting straight through onto the fuse, so the battery terminal actually becomes the fuse holder.
Yeah, we've got this chunky thing here.
So most inverter manufacturers recommend the use of a T-class fuse, and that's what you're looking at. That is a T-class fuse, a very fast-acting fuse.
That is huge. I've never actually seen one of those actually ever. So to see that in for real, so heavy as well, such a heavy fuse as well. And then we go to the sort of the ones that we see mainstream. So that's a
MIDI.
That's
fuse.
a MIDI fuse. Yeah, we've got the MIDI fuse there, and then we also move on to the mega fuse. So here's a typical mega fuse there. There's the mega fuse, and we're gonna sort of talk about the mega fuse shortly, about when we talk about fuse quality as well. So there's all your different types of fuses. Just to go back to the classics that we were talking about here. The classics are obviously like your classic sort of what did you call them?
A torpedo fuse. Yeah, I mean you call them that ceramic fuse. There was a ceramic version that looked exactly the same. That one's got a plastic body on it.
Yeah, like a bullet fuse. That's what I used to call them as well.
Yeah.
Like the old style fuse. Don't see them anymore though. Now we only see them now on classic vehicles. Yeah. So there's all our fuses. So why does a fuse blow, Tim? I mean, we looked at this before. We talked about this. Why does it blow?
You've got a short circuit, or as we called it earlier, a catastrophic failure. That will cause a fuse to blow. Or if you overload a circuit, so either there is a fault on the device or you've added something else onto that circuit, and the fuse will eventually blow.
And one thing that we mentioned before is, when a fuse blows, what do? Just replace it, yeah?
But it appears that's what quite a lot of people do. Maybe we should have a look and see what is the actual problem. Why has that fuse blown?
Yeah, definitely. I do feel that we should, and it's a common fault that normally everybody will just sort of brush it over, change the fuse,
or put a bigger size in,
or put a big. Yes, I've heard that before, Tim. But we hope that people that are watching this don't do that sort of thing, and that they actually consider investigating the issue and finding out what the problem is. Some other things to consider, and this is where Tim's expertise, I think, will come in here, was talk about all these different things we've got on the screen here. Because we've got interrupting rating, the time current rating, we've got the temperature, the ambient temperature, we've got silver plating. Right, okay, and then terminals as well. So
voltage, as we pretty much vehicles are either 12 or 24 volt, but over the last 5-10 years, we've had hybrids, mild hybrids, so they're working on a 48 volt architecture. So we have fuses now which are maybe 58 volt or 70 volt that you'll find on hybrid vehicles, because obviously the standard generic blade fuse is rated at a max of 32 volts. So we can't use that on a 48 volt vehicle. It gets a bit boring, all these time current ratings and interrupts and stuff like that. But in essence, if the overload is gradual, it will take a period of time before the fuse blows, and it will also accept a much larger current. So you might have a blade fuse rated at 20 amps, but you may be able to put, say, 80 or 100 amps through it for 2 or 3 seconds before it blows. But you may only be able to put, say, 250 amps through it for half a second before it blows. That's sort of your time current rating. Ambient temperature, I mean, it has an effect. Obviously, the hotter the fuse is, or the colder the fuse is, will adjust the amount of time and also the current, where it blows. The silver plating, so that will allow the fuse to operate at a higher temperature. It also inhibits corrosion, stops the fuse corroding. So predominantly you'll find under bonnet, a lot of fuses will be a silver plated leg. They're close to the engine, so it's much, much higher heat environment, and it's much more exposed to moisture in the environment, hence the silver plating to combat that.
Great, thanks, Tim. So let's look at we talked about this before about fuse quality as well. So going back to our screen, I've got some interesting insights on fuse quality. So I've got 3 mega fuses here that you can see here. Here they all are. So what's predominantly the difference between these, Tim? I mean, you've highlighted these with me. They're all pretty much the same type of fuse, aren't they?
They are, but the argument is only one of them is actually a mega fuse, and that's one that's got mega on it. The others are a clone or a copy variant. The middle one you've got there is made by a Japanese company, PEC. It's a decent fuse. It's okay. And then you've got your, dare I say it, your really cheap and nasty one, there on that right-hand side. So you can see they're made from physically different materials. All 3 of them have got a different appearance. And the little fuse one is copper legs. And then you've got sort of tin plated and steel. So yeah, truly, only one of them is a mega fuse. The others are a mega style fuse. I mean, it's just a generic term that I think people use. It's a bit like the sort of the sellotape and the biro. A mega fuse is a mega fuse.
Great, thanks, Tim. So there they all are. There's all your different fuses. We've also looked at this as well, is how do you distinguish between a good fuse and a cheap fuse? And this was the other thing that Tim noticed, was that if we, I'll just get it properly in the screen. If we look at this fuse, that's a little fuse there, the green one. This sort of, it looks like a very opaque. Whereas if we look at the other fuse, it's very clear. But the other key thing is if you have a look at the other one's got, the one has got writing on it, and I'm trying to get it into the screen. There we go. And then the other one, you can't actually see the writing on it that well. So there's some distinguishing differences between a cheaper made fuse and a better quality one. So I wanted to show that to you as well. And then our final part was, where should you fuse a device then, Tim? So
it's got to be as close as possible. Depending on the size of the cable, obviously if it's big fat battery cable, you may be sort of 20 centimetres, 25 centimetres maybe away because it's a large diameter cable. Smaller diameter cable, we can get closer to the terminal. And as you've seen, we can even now get fuses built into the battery terminal itself.
So as close to the source as possible. Lovely. Thanks ever so much for your time, Tim.
No problem at all.
Really appreciated you coming. Me appreciate your time and me coming down here and stuff. It's been great to have a look round, and we're going to see a little bit more of you hopefully on some future live streams as well. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
There we go. So there we have it. Hope you all enjoyed that. I know I did. It was a great afternoon out at Mobile Centre. I'm going to try something very clever now. I'm trying to bring the comments in to the screen. Will it let me do that? I don't think it will, no. But what I can do, I'll do the same old chit chat. So let's have a look. Jeremy says the new XC fronts passenger fuse boxes all micros. Yep, okay, great, thank you. Have we got any other ones? Frank says, what about the double ATO Ford is using? Yeah, and then he said, yeah, it's called the Micro 3. Absolutely, Frank. We didn't mention that too much on the stream, but yes, it was on our minds. It is the Micro 3. Basically, the center pin is the one that feeds all of the supply, and then it branches out across the two. The idea behind it is, again, it's just to try and save on space. So if you use those two, you're taking up the fuse for, so we say, the left-hand headlight and the right-hand headlight, or it could be the left-hand indicator and the right-hand indicator, or left-hand side light or right-hand side light sort of thing. That's the key on that one. Thank you, Jeremy. As close to the battery as possible. Yeah, definitely. We got that down from there. What's Craig put on here? Quality matters, but a cheap fuse is better than no fuse. The worrying thing about that, though, Craig, is, and I will point this out as well. I've said we are going to do videos about this as well, because Tim's up for this. Is that if you don't use the right maker fuse, we've seen them where they, and I have heard this, other than outside of here, where I've heard of like a 1 amp fuse actually blowing up 5 amps. That's the issue that you've got. So the right sort of fuse is important, especially if you buy it from the right sort of source, because if you do buy one of these cheaper fuses, where they actually, and I have seen this before on applications where something needs to blow at 1 amps and it's actually blowing at 5 and it's taking out part of something else. So yeah, I think we are sort of hitting something here that might be of interest here. That's what else have we got on here. Great video, thanks, Craig. And what's this one here? It says you can find 3 types of fuse on the same vehicle, makes carrying spares fun. You're absolutely right. I have actually seen, now looking at what I've seen before, you will find, like, for instance, as an example, on a Peugeot, you may find cartridge fuses in the front under the bonnet, or you may find cartridge fuses actually on Japanese vehicles as well. So I've seen these cartridge fuses being used before. Those cartridge fuses as well, some of the newer ones, and I really can't remember the name of it. It will come to me in it. The M Case Plus, so the smallest of the ones, those M Case Pluses are being used on Fords, I've been told as well. So yeah, it is interesting that, really, if you want to make sure that you've really got to carry like a massive complement of fuses just in case one of those fuses actually blows, or so yeah, I like what you're saying, Craig, to be honest with you. Right, have we got any more comments or anything? No comments. Well, it's been a long one tonight, and it's been great to have you in, and thanks very much for watching, everybody. For now, it's me saying ta-ta, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.